Hey everybody, it's Tyler from Zephyr Epic here, and welcome to group break number 429. We have a half case of 2023-24 Upper Deck Series 2. This is the half of a previous case that we did that just had one Bedard, Young Guns, and a Portraits, if I remember correctly, but same box numbers, so yeah. Here we go. 3 times on the names, 3 times on the teams. Who you line up with is who you get. As a reminder for this break, all Bedard cards are randomed. This is just mainly to, sorry, I just got to push my desk in a little bit. There we go. Just mainly to kind of balance out the break for teams that are like not as strong. And also it just, provides a little bit more excitement and spreads out Chicago over a few teams. And if we hit some Bedard cards, a couple people could go home happy, right? So, all right. Here we go. 3 times on the names, 3 times on the teams. Who you line up with is who you get. All right, here's a list of names. Again, this might be one of our final straight up Series 2 breaks. So 3 times. Once, twice, 3rd time. And then paste that into here. I need to check to see how much is left for breaks. I know there's not a ton left. And 3 times on the teams. Again, Chicago is a free team that'll be rounded off with all the Bedard cards individually at the end of the break. Except for the checklist, that's a random between Chicago and Anaheim. Same with any kind of like dual Bedard card. It'll always be between the teams on the card. Once, twice, 3rd time. Colorado on top. Winnipeg on the bottom. All right, here are your teams. Michael, you have Pierre Benoit, sorry, you have the Colorado Avalanche. Michael Tang with the San Jose Sharks. Michael Carlisle with the Oilers. Mike, wow, all the Mikes are at the top here. With the Tampa Bay Lightning. Michael Carlisle with the Philadelphia Flyers. Dante with the LA Kings. Kyle with the Islanders. Dante with the Canucks. Trevor with the Coyotes, or the Utahs, whatever they're going to be called. Sean with the Vegas Golden Knights. GT with the Predators in the Wild. Walter with the Montreal Canadiens, Paul with the Boston Bruins, Colin with the Toronto Maple Leafs, Michael with the Ottawa Senators, Trevor with the St. Louis Blues, Pierre Benoit with the Calgary Flames, Kyle with the Sabres, Chris with the Penguins, Paul with the Columbus Blue Jackets, Brian with the Panthers, Sean with the Rangers, Melissa with the Stars, Pepe with the Devils, Melissa with the Carolina Hurricanes, Bob with the Red Wings, Johnny with the Kraken, Walter with the Ducks, John with the Capitals, and Johnny with the Jets. Where is my mouse? There's my mouse. All right, get that over there. Sorry. I just kind of fell down in my room in case you heard like a little bit of a jump scare. I just kind of shifted. I think it's fine. Yeah, everything's fine. I don't know what happened there. That's kind of weird. But where is the stream view? There we go. Is this all correct? Yes, it looks good. And if I remember correctly, the first half was pretty like So like we had the one Bedard, the one Portraits, nothing else really fancy. So we should have some sort of idea. I need to go through the checklist. The checklist of like redemptions for artifacts, because those are live, by the way. And do that. But all right. There we go. But we probably have a good idea of when the rookie cutoff is. It looks like it is before Othman and Ponomarov debuted. So we could actually be looking at a decent... I was expecting next year to not be super strong for Young Guns, just because it was heavily dependent on debuts. And I knew that like Stankoven was probably going to debut, but a couple of them caught me off guard, and some of the holdovers will be nice. So, all right. Josh Doan's going to be a weird one, because like... Actually, yeah, they might hold him back for... It's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. for players. So, because like Josh Doan would be, I guess it like, are they gonna have to reprint stuff that's already been printed? Like if they've already started printing, say, MVP, everything might have to say Utah. There's not gonna be a logo, so it's gonna be interesting to see how the card market handles that. Yeah, that's probably the biggest, honestly, like with the playoffs starting, that's the biggest talking point, and is the fact that the Coyotes are no more, and it's sad. It's very sad. I'm a big believer that hockey can work in Arizona. They just need the right ownership group. You know, I frankly, people that being like, oh, like they didn't turn a profit in these years. I mean, this sport ownership in general can fudge numbers pretty well to make it seem like they're not turning profit when in fact they are. So, because there's other things that go into it. And it's like in ownership's interest. Hey, but yeah, it's in ownership's interest to keep that number down. I mean, it's not so much like they just had really bad owners consistently, some of the worst owners. Konechny, Tompkins, and Colin Blackwell for Chicago. Like, think about all of the ownership groups they've had. How many of them have had tons of controversy around them in the past like 20 years? And it's a lot. Glaring of Crosby with a Tage Thompson and Charlie McAvoy. Like, they haven't fielded a winning team in a while, and that's partly because of like other stuff. And winning solves a lot of the problems there. But also, again, if you like went down to the games, Tage Thompson, Fraser Minton for the Leafs, and Robert Thomas for the Blues. Like, where they were in Glendale was a really bad area for hockey because it's so far out. Like, I cannot stress how far out it was. If you haven't been in there for a game, it was a while. Jakai, William Nylander, and Jackson Lacombe. So they needed to have a more central arena location because it's not like hockey in general. Grubauer for the Kraken, Korchinski for Chicago. It's not like football where there's, 8 or 9 home games in a year where it's like, yeah, like I will make that trek out 18 times, or not 18 times, but 8-9 times a year. Eichel on the Sparkles, Anderson, Dufour. Dufour that was on a roll. Like they need to be more local, and like hockey in general needs to be more downtown. So Kucherov, Fluorescence of Matt Murray for the Stars, and Brock Faber apparently played through cracked ribs for the final couple of months. But yeah, essentially, I think long term that an arena downtown actually would have worked. Like where they were was a lot better of a spot. Jari, Carlson, and Solovyov. Like, it's just really frustrating because there is a legitimate market down there for it. And they just fumbled consistently year after year. Maroon, Jarvis, and Svozil. And at the end of the day, like, you can point to a number of things that were the failure, but I don't think the actual area is. Marchand on the deluxe to 250. Because I think that market can handle hockey. It just, they need winning teams and they need to not be mismanaged. And Maxence Gounet on the Young Guns with Saros on the Instinctos. But, yeah. I don't know. It's frustrating. Ovechkin for the Capitals, Barkov for the Panthers, and McDonough for the Canucks. Honestly, I don't think their current owner is fit to be an NHL owner. Reading through a bunch of his interviews, there's a lot of excuses and not a lot of accountability. So, Vanacek, Ryan Shea, and Dylan Gunther for the Yotes. Yeah, like for example, they trotted out the whole God, my favorite stuff is when they trot out like, oh, like we couldn't be competitive because we were in a 4,500 seat arena, and it's like, well, I'm sorry, but that's kind of your own fault. It's like, oh, the lease with Glendale got broke, and we couldn't stay there because they kicked us out and wanted us to commit to a really bad lease agreement. It's like, well, you kind of were also really bad tenants that didn't pay up. And there's tons and tons of reports of them not paying people, including the players. There's people that used to work for the team posting on social media being like, yeah, like I worked for them for a while, and then after ownership changed it, I was like invoicing them my same rate that I have the entire time, and they didn't pay me and said I'm gonna take, like, no, you have to accept a different pay rate. And so it was just really amateur hour. They were kind of run like a vulture capitalist organization, essentially, for lack of a better phrase. They ran very, very, very lean and cheap and liquidated pretty much anything of value, and yeah, kind of sucked. Olmark, Nuge, and Luke Hughes. So I think the market can work. I just think it needs to have actually supportive owners that want to win and actually care about the on-ice product. Toffoli, Kyrou, and Raphael Lavoie. Because that's, at the end of the day, what matters the most. The fact that they weren't competitive this year, and I think I made this point in a break, like at the start of the season, Jason Robertson, Ekblad, and Farrell, is that the fact that they weren't competitive at the start of the season when they needed, and like the fact that they weren't pushing more chips in because they're coming out of a rebuild, like they could have done, Young Gun Deluxe angle for Columbus, not who you want to see, Crosby, and wow, deja vu angle for Columbus. But just the pure fact they weren't trying to be competitive was absolutely crazy, because you're gonna need public support. No one's gonna want to publicly support a not great team that doesn't seem like they're having a ton of money put into them. And like, no wonder it failed. Point, Stamkos, and Wolf. It's one of those just like, the shock Pikachu face meme where it's like you're actually not shocked. Yeah, that was that entire year for me. And honestly, I'm glad it's over. Shesterkin, John Beecher, and Zach Benson on the Young Gun canvas. I'm glad it's over because the situation they were in was just really bad for the NHL. It was a really bad optics look. Bad for the players. You're just kind of like going year in, year out, not knowing if you're going to stay in that market. That's not fair to the players and their livelihoods. Right? Like, imagine your employer just like year after year being like, I don't know if we're going to be here. We're going to try and stay. Zegras, Kopitar on the black and white, Brent Burns for the Sharks. Like, that'll wear and tear on you a little bit. And honestly, I think it did wear on the players a little bit too. So I think the market can work. I think they need a much better ownership group. Maroon, Couture, and Matt Murray. And so, like, I don't know. Without the Coyotes, we don't get some of the, we don't have one of the best players in the game. Like, the market works. It just needs the right support. Reeves for the Wild, Gord, and Coronado. It's frustrating. So the Coyotes were also kind of like my second team. So Eichel, Cartier, he's did well to end the year, and Merzlikins on the outburst. But yeah, like I get people's frustration being like, the market kind of like, it's a non-traditional market. The market sucks. It's always got controversy. It's like, well, McDavid on the monster season, Eichel and Nestorenko. Yeah, like it kind of sucks, but I don't know how much you can fully fault the market. Carlson for the Sharks, Andre for the Flyers, and Fleury for the Wild. Like, would you, if you had a team, a sports team that was constantly under the threat of moving and constantly had bad ownership, would you want to start cheering for them as a new fan if you went to a game? I would have a tough time getting into it. Like, yeah, I'd like to go and watch the games, but like, man, that'd be brutal, especially if they weren't winning. Like, if they were winning would have solved a lot of this, to be honest, but that's what happens again when it's a really poorly ran organization, so. Yeah, I hope they come back. I hope they come back under new ownership. The vibes I got from the team was that, and the ownership group, was that they were mainly trying to leverage the team as a way to get land to build more developments on, because everything about them and their facility was always like, we're gonna build this great place, kind of like what Glendale was. Glendale was sick. Olivier, Drew Doughty, and Nashko. Like, don't get me wrong, that area was actually really cool. If you were a visiting fan, there are hotels there. There's outlet malls, lots of shopping, lots of cool little bars and restaurants, all in this little area. But for locals, which are going to be the majority of your season tickets and stuff, it sucked. Kempe, Spurgeon, and Koponen. And it just seems like they really just wanted to do the land side of it and for other purposes and didn't care about the hockey side. And to me, that's a huge red flag. All right, Bobrovsky, Balinskis, and Mason Marchment. Like, absolutely huge, giant red flag that they're not serious about owning the team. And I don't think they ever took the hockey part of it seriously. And I think that's a big reason towards the end why they got taken out. So Pedersen, Drysdale, and Nyes. You know, for Bettman to give up on the market and to for Bettman to pull a team from Arizona as quickly as he did, Beniers, Solovyov, and Duclair, makes me wonder that there's something else coming out about the franchise eventually, or that there is a lot more under the surface that no one really saw. So that's just the regular Quinn Hughes. Markstrom, Zibanejad, Casper. So, because some of those press conferences were rough. But yeah, McCann, Barzell, Konechny. I am looking forward to the start of the playoffs because, you know, it's always nice when your team's in the playoffs. Canucks and Predators should be a pretty good series. Georgiev. Well, nice little Connor Bedard and Peltier behind it for the Flames there. Again, Team Canada stuff goes to current team if they're an active player. Most games played if they are retired. Could you imagine if we pulled Bedard into Canvas Bedard there for the Program of Excellence? That would have been sick. All right, what do we got hiding in this pack? It's been a pretty spicy little start to the break. McDavid, Shesterkin on the clear cut. That's actually a good one to get. Forrester for the Rangers. Yeah, playoffs are going to be good. Lots of the Winnipeg Colorado matchup in round 1, super intriguing. I think both those teams kind of got roughed over by the schedule. McDavid on the Dazzlers. It's got chipping on the bottom, just as a heads up. Bergeron and Mark Del Gaizo. Because, you've got a 2 seed facing a 4 seed in the first round, and that is unfortunate. Binnington, Beauvillier, and Peltier. I'm a big hater of the current NHL playoff format, just because it's the 7th straight year in the Western Conference that you're guaranteed to have either the one. Oh, we got an Outburst Red coming up here. It's our third one. I think that we pulled Buchnevich for the Blues to 25. Buchnevich for the Blues. Hey, St. Louis, you probably weren't expecting much in this break, but Nice little outburst red. Oh, I forgot to mark. Oh, that'll be the only young gun that we pull for Bedard this break, because if we pull 3 in a case, I'd be shocked, man. Draisaitl and Billy Sweezy. But yeah, it's the 7th straight year in the Western Conference that the 1 and the 2 seed have been in the same division, which means that you're guaranteed to have the 1 and the 2 seeds out by round 2. Which to me isn't a great format. Also, historically, over the 9 seasons that the this current playoff format has been in place, I think it's 60, like 2/3 of the time, the 1 and 2 seed are in the same division. Historically speaking, out of those 18 first round matchups, the 3 seed has generally drawn more favorable competition than the 2 seed. And I would say the 5 seed and 6 seed have drawn more favorable competition than the 4 seed, which isn't exactly right. I think the 4 seed's actually been like the 3rd worst seed to get. Don't forget we had like a 6 versus 8 matchup a couple years ago. Or not a couple years, but a few years ago. But yeah, it's a weird playoff format. I don't like it. I don't think it actually like adds anything. So I think we have a clear-cut young gun coming up here. Maybe we'll get a good one for once. It is Matt Murray. Ovechkin, Matt Murray for the Dallas Stars, and Jack Eichel. But this is my old man, well, not old man, almost 30-year-old man yells at clouds moment for the NHL playoffs and the formats. Because, like, I don't know. I don't think it's actually really doing much to add to rivalries. I think it's trying to force them, and it's just leading to weaker playoffs. Skinner, Braden Point, and Ryan Shea. And it also heavily emphasizes the just get in and anything can happen for the playoffs. And I feel like you want at least some sort of incentive. Husso on the Instinctive Sparkles, Kachuk, McDonough. I feel like you want some sort of incentive for teams to, finish the season strong. Because for like the Canucks, some of the other teams, it felt like, especially the Canucks, they kind of not mailed it in down the stretch, but they didn't play like full on. McCann on the Pink Dazzlers, Vejmelka on the Instinctos, and Walker Dewar on the Young Guns. They definitely went easy down the stretch. And that game against Winnipeg last night, if you were to tell me that was like game 1 of the preseason, or like the last game where you need all your regulars kind of getting their final tune-up before the regular season and preseason, I would have believed you. Kaprizov, Ekblad, and Desnoyers. And I just don't think that's great. I think a play-in format might help solve that a little bit at least, because then the Canucks and McEwen, Korchinski again, so that Chicago random is going to be good. Swimming on the canvas. But if you had a play-in format where, the 1 seed is facing a team that's going to be playing their 3rd game in 4th nights, and then you had the 2 seed playing a team that played an extra game, Kyle Connor, Justin Sertov, and Kochetkov for the Canes, then there would have been a little bit more like gas on the Canucks Jets game yesterday, because getting that extra day of rest, like facing a team that has to play an extra game, is a huge deal. McDavid for the Oilers, Horvat, and Brock Faber. Also, it's kind of wild that Nashville's going to be, I think, 3 more days rested than the Canucks heading into their game 1 match, which is, I'd say, a decent advantage. Sogard, Emberson, Lehkonen. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for playoff hockey. I think there are some fun matchups in round 1. It's kind of wild we get a 5v7, but Reeves, Kucherov, and Stanislav Svozil. I think if there's any year where the playoff format doesn't really matter a ton, it's this year, because I think, especially in the West, like, who's the worst team in the West? And do you want to face Vegas in round 1? I would wager probably not. Kuznetsov, Jason Robertson, and Damian Giroux. But at the same time, it's like I I think Vegas is the weakest team. At least a team that, if Mark Stone isn't back, especially if he's not at 100%, you're going to have the best chance of winning against. Robertson on the Ecliptic Sparkles, Vasilevsky, and Kopitar. But every team is so close that it doesn't matter a ton. It does a little bit. But... And in the East, it's like 1 and 2 definitely have a huge advantage. Because, you know, facing the Islanders or the Capitals is, I would say, a pretty big deal. But then again, the teams that win those matchups are facing off against each other, so I do think the Islanders are sneaky from the standpoint that they have a really elite goalie who could pop off and absolutely, you know, destroy a team, especially the Hurricanes. But the Hurricanes actually added scoring this year, so I find that a little bit tough. The Hurricanes are such a deep team. Kucherov, Giordano on the black and white canvas, and Matt Murray for the Stars. All right, 2 boxes to go. Not a bad half case so far. Jari, Mangiapane, Luke Phillip. That Chicago random is going to be pretty sizable, actually. You're getting 2 Korchinskis, some inserts, maybe a checklist young gun. We'll have to find out. Carter Hart, Dougie Hamilton, Owen Beck. Yeah, I'm also curious to see if Utah actually starts off as just like Utah for the hockey team and they don't have a team name or logo yet. Blake Wheeler on our Deep Roots Purple. Those are case hits and they actually are selling decent. Saros and Teasdale. At least the big names are selling decent just because they're as rare as a clear-cut young gun. So if you're trying to complete the set, it's definitely hard. Ovechkin, Matthews, and Greg. Yeah, have you got any questions about my thoughts on playoff matchups, hockey players, trophy races? Let me know. Fan check, Zach Benson, and Hugh McGing for the Blues. Nice little Benson. Second big young gun. Big believer in his game. Got 3 decent, decent numbered cards. We have Konechny, Maxence Goodnet, and Mackenzie Weegar. He hit 20 goals this year. Really good season for him. Calgary's going to be in an interesting spot with, do they rebuild? How do they handle their current roster? McDavid on the monster season, Tage Thompson, Bo Horvat. Because there's a lot of different directions that they can go. Tage Thompson, Mason Lohrei, and Kirill the Thrill Marchenko. Jakai, Dylan Larkin, Marilainen. Kirill Marchenko, Philip Grubauer, and Morella for the Bolts. Last pack of box 5. Kaprizov, Charlie McAvoy, and Matty Nice. All right, 1 box to go. Honestly, pretty solid. Numbered young guns, Outburst Red, Bedard, Clear Cut Young Gun. Case is still like, I don't know. This case has felt really weird because there hasn't been. I guess the Outburst Red is pretty big, but you know, you normally expect 1 really like big pull, but it's still a 2 Bedard case. So 2 Bedard, 1 Portraits. I don't know. It feels like we could be due for a big hit. So but it just feels like that was Series 1 or Series 2 in general, and Series 1. That, like, eventually you're due. By the way, I went through all of the base cards again, rewatched the entire break video of the Series 1 case from the show. Did not see any buyback 1-of-1s, and I think that the Young Gun Clear Cut exclusive is a replacement for it. So, because those were really, really tough pulls. All right. Oh, another exclusives here. Jake McCabe for the Leafs with a Ville Husso and a Clay Stevenson. 1 second. All right. Sorry, my cat was assigned to go absolutely insane on a cardboard box outside that she was begging for earlier today. So, dang, if that exclusives would have been a Young Guns exclusives, especially like a Bedard, you know, would have been pretty nice. Jason Robertson, Michael Backlund, Jackson Lacombe. We've done pretty well in terms of outburst reds. We've hit a decent amount. It's good to see. Keller, there's a Leo and a Desnoyers on the canvas. So kind of the two big guys hit, which is what you like to see. Poitras would be nice, but Bruins at least have Beecher and Lohrei, so. And again, there were 5 spots left in the Black Diamond case. 5-box case break of that, so. It has something sticky on it. Mitch Marner, Zach Werenski, Luke Hughes. Laine, Pizzetta, and Damon Hunt. All right. Also, it is a lot quicker to go through this year's format of Series 1 and Series 2. Watson, Dylan Strome. It's gritty. That's my favorite portraits. They should have made a gritty red portraits where it's just like his eyes are red. And the card's just like, it's foiled except his eyes are like extremely bright. Ooh, Outburst Young Guns. Let's hope for a good one. Kaprizov, Stanislav Svozil, Fraser Minton. You know what? We'll take that. We'll take a Minton. That is above average. So, not a bad half case. Not a bad half case. Actually, honestly speaking, pretty solid. Got our 1 Outburst Young Gun, got our Clear Cut. I mean, got a Bedard. There's a Monster Season of McDavid, Kempa, and McMahon. Leo, got a Benson. Got a Young Guns Deluxe, which, I mean, hey, it's a bad player, but it's better than nothing. Bennington, Tompkins, McDavid on the canvas. And exclusives and another base deluxe and Outburst Red. Like 4 numbered cards. Pretty solid. Bedard, that's always good. Austin Watson, Walker Dewar. And William Dufour. Yeah, all right. 2 packs to go. We got 1 Bedard for the random. Let's see if we can get... I think we already got our Dazzler, so I think we'll end up with 1 unless we... Yeah, I think it's just going to end up with 1. Hart, Rantanen, and Tia. And Clayton Keller for the Yotes, Mason McTavish, and Jacob Peltier for the Flames. All right. So 1 random to do, which is the Chicago Bedard random, just a base Young Gun, and then the rest of Chicago hits. So let me go ahead and get that set up. Is Just the Young Guns. Copy that over to good old friendrandom.org. Paste it in, and then we will grab the list of teams. Copy that. Paste it in. All right, here we go. 3 times. Once, twice, third time. Young Guns on top, Chicago's on the bottom. All right, so you want to land in spot. Let me put it here. Want to land in spot 1. Teams 3 times. Good luck. Once, twice, third time. Dallas and, hey, St. Louis had a heck of a break. Both those teams actually had pretty solid breaks because Clear Cut Young Guns and Outburst. So Dallas, oop, that is. Why did that paste that? There we go. So Dallas gets the Young Gun, Chicago gets all of the St. Louis stuff, or St. Louis gets all of the Chicago stuff. All right, so that is Group Break 429. Let me work my way back over here in terms of a quick little recap. Good Young Guns that we got were Leo Carlson and Zach Benson. We got a Lorai, a Cartier, another Minton in there as well. We got a Benson Canvas. In terms of numbered cards, we got a McCabe Exclusives to 100, Engel Young Guns to 250, and a Marchand to 250. We have, in terms of cool Young Gun hits, Matt Murray and Fraser Minton, Clear Cut and Outburst. And then Vucinovic Outburst Red to 25. These are always cool. I always like pulling these. And then, I mean, the hit of the break is always going to be a Bedard Young Gun in this product, really, because nothing else is going to touch that value. So that is Group Break 429. Again, 5 spots left in Black Diamond. I will go and see how many spots are left now.